recording. Let's just, yes. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Shall we start with my wish?
Yeah. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. My wish. The lover has to keep the wish of the beloved. My wish for my lovers is as follows. Do not shirk your responsibilities. Attend faithfully to your worldly duties, but always keep at the back of your mind that all this is Baba's. When you feel happy, think Baba wants me to be happy. When you suffer, think Baba wants me to suffer. Be resigned to every situation and think honestly and sincerely. Baba has placed me in this situation. With the understanding that Baba is in everyone, try to help and serve others. I say with my divine authority, each and all, that whosoever takes my name at the time of breathing his last comes to me. So do not forget to remember me in your last moments. Unless you start remembering me like from now on, it will be difficult to remember me when your end approaches. You should start practicing from now on. Even if you take my name only once every day, you will not forget to remember me in your dying moments. Avatar,
Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
over to you, Karthik.
Thank you so much for reading the message. So we continue our journey with Bal Natu, and we were reading about the Hayrat of Sabir in our last reading. So that's where we stopped. And then the next section starts as Sabir predicts his own death. Um, Ashokji, you want to start by reading for some time?
Oh yeah, that'll be great. I'll start and then I'll have to maybe you know yeah I'll start. Yes, that's right.
Jai Bab, please.
Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Sabir predicts his own death. Samshuddin returned and reported the entire episode to his master, who was highly pleased. Later, one day, Shamsuddin very respectfully reminded his master, Baba Farid, Fariduddin, about the promised reward, and in reply, the master said, Yes, I know you have done your work very well. I give Ali Ahmed Sabir to you by your reward. Go and serve him. Shamsuddin once again made his way to Kalyar and wholeheartedly dedicated himself to the service of Service, whom he began to regard as his master. As time passed, Sabir initiated him in the path. After a while, he instructed him to seek a position in the king's cavalry. He, of course, ordered him to continue with his personal spiritual disciplines and prayers. Sabir incidentally remarked, Remember one more thing. The day you happen to perform a miracle will be the day of my departure from earthly life. In compliance with the master's order, Shamsuddin sought a position in the cavalry of Sultan Alauddin's army. A few years later, Alauddin besieged a very strong fort in Rajasthan, but despite his best efforts, failed to conquer it. As a last resort, he approached a saintly person to intercede in the matter and to pray for his success. The person replied, Sultan, there is a great soul in your cavalry. If he prays for you, your wish will be fulfilled. But how am I to know him? The Sultan inquired. The saint answered, Tonight there will be a great storm. It will extinguish all the lights, big and small, in your camp. But you will notice a little lamp burning and a man praying by its side. He will be the one I am now referring to. As foretold by the saint, a hurricane raged over the camp that night. The tents were knocked down and the lamps were blown out. Everywhere there was chaos. This convinced Alauddin that the rest of the saint's prediction must be equally true, and he began to visit the campgrounds of his cavalry in search of a lone burning lamp. After a while, he noticed a small lantern flickering, and by its side, a man engrossed in deep meditation. The Sultan reverentially waited till the person concluded his prayers. This person was Samshuddin Turk. He stood up to receive the Sultan. In a very polite way, the Sultan entreated Shamsuddin to pray for the fall of the fortress that he had besieged. Shamsuddin tried to put him off with different reasons, but the Sultan remained adamant. At last, Shamsuddin felt that it was God's will that he should pray and said to the Sultan, "Relieve me from my position, pay me my dues. I will immediately leave this camp and go some miles away to prayer. Attack the fort in the morning. God willing, victory will be yours." After a little pause, he added, "But unfortunately, the miraculous happening will coincide with the passing away of my beloved master from his early abode,
From this earthly abode.
from this earthly abode." Yes, yes. Also, the previous paragraph, there's one line. Can you just go back one or two paragraphs? No, one before this. Yes. So
Yeah.
here is, you will notice, Rickman, a little lamp burning and a man praying by its side. He will be the one I am now. So this is sort of a miracle that all lights have extinguished, but only one light uh, is is burning.
I
So,
think the next one, the winning of the war, is the miracle, and that's why he's going to drop the body. His Fariduddin is going to drop the body. But anyway, we'll find out. Next
yeah,
page.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The Sultan, who had no connection with Samshuddin's master, willingly agreed to conditions laid down by him and eventually captured the fort. Meanwhile, Samshuddin, after his promised prayers, left for Kalyar immediately, and there, true to his master's words, he found that Sabir had expired, and for want of attendance, his body was being guarded by tigers and wild animals of the forest. On Samshuddin's arrival, the animals
Yeah,
returned. Yeah,
there
there is a
is
cross
a
reference.
yeah, it's basically the same book, which is previous. Okay, so it's all from Meher Babajar. Okay, on Shamsuddin's from here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. On Samshuddin's arrival, the animals returned to the jungle and he attended to the burial of his master's physical body. It was at this place that the present Dargah of Sabir was later constructed. Coincidentally, there are two similarities between the lives of
So
Sabir
before you
and
continue, so what is the miracle? It's the war, right? Looks like the war. I mean, the defeat of the fortress in
yeah,
Rajasthan.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And because that happened, his master dropped his body.
Dropped his body. Yeah.
Coincidentally, there are two similarities between the lives of Sabir and his master, Baba Fariduddin, who also known as Ganje Shakkar. Both were caught up in Mukam e Her and both used their powers. Baba Fariduddin killed sparrows and thieves. Cross reference 29.
Exactly. I was thinking it's in Discourses, Volume 2, 107, 108.
Correct.
Yeah. Sabir.
Sabir toppled a big mosque, burying many alive in the debris. However, with the grace of the perfume masters, both became God realized. Incredible are the ways of God, incomprehensible, revealed through the lives of Sadgurus, Kutubs, the perfect masters. I have narrated the account of Sabir in detail for the readers as an illustration of the stories connected with the lives of saints and masters, whose dargahs and samadhis Meher Baba visited during this and subsequent mosque tours. Ah, after paying his respects at Dargah of Sabir at Kayar, Baba proceeded to Muzaffarnagar,
Sorry.
a naked mast, a saint, and a mastani. While traveling in the car toward Muzaffarnagar, Baba sighted a mast who was completely naked. It seemed he was Mazlum like because he was walking delightfully, without the least perturbation in the scorching heat of the midday sun. This must had not had the good fortune to have come in contact with the god man during his earlier tours, so Baba appeared anxious to meet him. Kaidur was told to persuade the must to sit by the roadside, which he managed to do by coaxing the must to rest under the shade of a tree. Baba walked a little distance to give him sweet biscuits, and the contact was accomplished to Baba's satisfaction. This Mazub like person appeared cold and gentle and had an impressive countenance. Baba liked this Naga must and especially remembered him at Dehradun after the tour. He even sent one of his disciples to bring him to Dehradun. In spite of an enthusiastic search between Roorkee and Muzaffarnagar over a period of 2 weeks, neither the must nor a trace of his whereabouts could be found. Disappointed, the diligent disciple returned to Baba to report his failure. To the surprise of sorry, to the surprise of all, one evening shortly thereafter, the same must was seen leisurely walking on Rajpur Road in Dehradun towards Baba's residence. Baba was pleased with this news and made arrangements for his stay. For about a month, Baba often visited him and served him lovingly, after which he was sent back to Saharanpur with an escort. As usual, Baba made some arrangements with the local person to look after the needs of the must. Baba's love for must, his God-centered children, was inimitable. On June 6th, late in the afternoon, Baba and his people continued the journey to Brisbane. It turned out they could not reach the city by the route they had taken, as the bridge had been torn down. One of the cars, while going back to the road, got stuck in the sand of the riverbed. By using jacks and clearing the burning sand by hand, the Mandli succeeded in making the wheels spin. But instead of freeing the car, this only made it sink deeper in the sand. The hot breezes and shateless expanse of the river worsened the situation.
Have any of you experienced this? I have experienced this a couple of times. It's very, very difficult. In the desert, if your car starts going into the sand, I mean, you just need a crane. in many, or a very, very experienced driver. It was, I remember two times that it happened, and it's very crazy. It just keeps going deeper and deeper. So you have very powerful cars. When you go to the desert, you usually take the SUVs. But this is a very serious problem. But this is obviously Bijnor and close to the road. But still, anyway,
It's like quicksand. The more you try to come out, the more you sink.
quicksand. Yeah, it's like quicksand, but it's dry. And here in this case, both the experiences that I had were in the winter. But I can imagine doing this in the peak summer when the sand is also burning and there's nothing you can do. I mean, you clear the place around the tire, it goes deeper.
Yes.
So there's no grip. So it's very, they actually use chains to get it out. Chains on the
You-
tire, like how they
Yeah,
use
yeah.
in snow. Yeah.
Human aid at such an hour seemed impossible. Luckily, however, after an hour of fruitless struggle, some people happened to pass by on their way to Ignore. They readily offered to help pull the car out of the sand and get it on the right track. Perhaps these hardships of the must tours were metaphors for the adventures and frustrations of the must. While treading their inner path to God, it, it was evening when all reached Muzaffarnagar, and Baba abandoned the plan of visiting Bijnor. After meals and a short rest, Baba wished to visit Shertawal, an out of the way place where a very respected saint named Abhaya Dev was staying. Baba wanted to pay his respects to the saint, but as an ordinary man. Baba warned his people that none of them should disclose his identity to anyone at Shertawal. The journey began. The distance was only 14 miles, but the road was so rough and bumpy that the drivers had a very difficult time. Baba visited the saint and bowed down to him. The saint's devotees were lovingly invited. The saint's devotees very lovingly invited Baba's people to stay there for the night or at least spend some time and have refreshments. These requests, however, were not complied with. It has been noticed that once a contact was made with any must or saint, Baba would immediately leave that place. So the same night, the two cars slowly made their way back to Muzaffarnagar. On arriving and before having food or retiring for the night, Baba visited a Mastani named Alhadia. She was staying in a very small room filled with all sorts of rubbish. Baidul requested Aladia to come out of her room, and a little later she yielded and came out, holding a candle in her hand. She was heavily clad with dirty clothes and put a number of iron rings and bangles on her wrists. God alone knows how one can feel comfortable with such a load of unclean clothing. Baba gave her a rupee coin, which she gratefully accepted and said in Urdu, "May you live long. I invoke God's blessings." She went inside her room and Baba, in a happy mood, left for the dark bungalow. The first day of the must tour was over.
So one of the types of musts like to wear a lot of rings, or I mean, a lot of iron on them. So this must be that kind of a Mastani. So she had a number of iron rings and bangles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bombay of Khanna and Totapuri of Kup. On June 7th at 5 o'clock in the morning, the two cars left the dark bungalow of Muzaffarnagar for a long journey. However, after a short drive, Baba stopped at Saranpur to renew his contact with an old man, while white bearded man, an old white bearded man with a pleasing personality named Kalumia. This must had sparkling eyes and a ready smile on his face. Baba gave him a rupee and bowed down to him. All
Sorry. Yeah.
so all these musts they have a very sparkling countenance, or they have something sort of a halo around them, or that internal they're on the internal path, so they have an externally you can see some uh, sparkles in them. Okay,
Yeah.
Baba, I can't see the text on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah. Yeah. My bad. My bad luck with technology continues today. I closed the preview window. I'm just gonna get back. Give
Okay.
me 1 second.
Yeah, yeah.
So we heard many times, right? Like when we talk about the musk, in the book they said there is no smell, sparking eyes, and all. So did you get any chance when you like walk on the road? Did you see this kind of people around, and you thought, okay, this might be looks like a musk? Just asking right now until you open that Trello window. So just raise the question. Did you guys had an experience like and you feel like that? Okay, this person might be the looks like a must way he
Yeah, I
behaves or
think
something.
Yeah, I think I remember you have asked about this even before. Personally, I have not come across anybody like that. But others also, please comment on this because it could be. I mean, it's very intriguing. I'm also very curious to get an opportunity, but maybe I'm too focused on. I'm too left-brained, so I don't even realize, right? So. Maybe it's happening and I'm just missing it. Possible,
Jai
right?
Baba, it's very difficult to differentiate between a must and someone who looks uh, like a madman. It's very difficult to differentiate. You got to have some spiritual inkling to do that, and I don't think we as common commoners can. It's very difficult to differentiate. Is what is my experience.
True. But Baba's, I mean, through Wayfarers and through all the books, we have understood a few ways of identifying. But as you said, it's not for everyone. You need to be a trained must hunter,
Yes.
right? Or gifted, I will say. I will say gifted must hunter rather than a trained. This is something that you can't pick up over training, right? It's just could be the case. So you're looking for musts where in Dallas, Chief?
No, no. I just I thought of just raise something until you open the window. Nothing.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. I'm
I
giving
never
you like,
concentrate. I never concentrated if someone is around not or not. There's no need
yeah,
actually, right? So
yeah, yeah, no need. And Baba has said there's very little chance of getting musts. And the only people you'll find are agents outside India. So Indian subcontinent is where you will find mostly the musts. So anyway, we can continue, but before we
yeah.
continue, I thought I'll just show you all the places that are being referred to here. Roorkee, Muzaffarnagar.
That's all the UP.
Yeah, Saharanpur, UP. I mean, all near Delhi.
Yes.
So, so if you see, that's Roorkee to Muzaffarnagar. Then there was also uh, Saharanpur. Saharanpur is closer to Roorkee. Yeah, on the other side, right?
Also,
So this is
Dehradun.
Chatwal, this is Saharanpur, this is Roorkee, and they're all in Uttarakhand. And Uttarakhand is near, I mean, it's all uh, south of Dehradun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, one more. We'll just check where is Bijnor. Bijnor, I thought was other side, right? Oh, there's Bijnor, Uttar Pradesh. Oh, it's not very far away. So there it is. But surprising to see why there is sand in Bijnor. I somehow thought Bijnor was Rajasthan. Well, there's no sand anymore. It's green and nice now. Anyway, so that's just all the places that Baba, uh, I mean, we saw in the last pages. Let's continue. And tell me
Al-
whenever you want to switch, Ashok.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell. And
Yeah,
although earlier Baba had wanted to go to Ludhiana, Punjab by the highway, he now suggested a side trip to Kurukshetra. There he paid a visit to Kathia Baba, a saintly person who had recently arrived from Kathiawar, a province in the state of Gujarat. At night, Baba and his people rested at the Dak bungalow in Ambala. So this Kurukshetra is the venue for Mahabharata. Is that the same?
correct, correct. You're right. So now he's on the other side. So from UP, he has gone towards Punjab. So if you look at all these places, I'll remove all these now. So you're talking about Kurukshetra, Haryana, and what is the other one? Ambala and Ludhiana. So all this is on the, okay, that's far away, but yeah, these are all in Punjab. So if you get a sense of it, whereas we were here before on the other side of the valley. So you were in near Dehradun. Baba has now moved this side, and it's between Ludhiana, Ambala, and Kurukshetra. Those two places.
Kurukshetra is in Punjab or Haryana?
Haryana.
Haryana.
Haryana. Yeah. Haryana. Yeah. Actually, Ambala is in Punjab, right?
Yes, yes. Ambala is in Punjab.
Punjab.
But
Yeah.
here it says Ambala, Haryana. So,
I think there has been some
border?
movement of the
No, this is an old text, right? Before it was not like that. Then they divided the states.
Maybe. Correct. No, but I thought even now Ambala is Punjab. No.
Of course, it is a Punjab.
Okay, okay. Yes, Ashok ji.
On the morning of 8th, the first stop was at Khanna, where Baba contacted an ascetic clad in orange robes, then a naked musk named Bambi, who looked very robust. As Baba placed his head on Bambi's feet, he looked very robust. As Baba placed his head on Bambi's feet, he cried aloud, Saki, and then ran away into the field. Baba, being the perfect Saki, the cupbearer, pours the wine of his love to the measure of one's cup, heart's longing. But his giving has a unique quality that helps the cup to increase its capacity to hold even more wine in case the cupbearer wishes to dole it out again. Perhaps this was the reason of Baba's must contacts.
Right.
Faidul led Baba to a Jain sadhu who had returned from his daily round of begging for food. When Baba wished to pay respect to him, the sadhu said, I am not worthy to receive such homage from others. However, after a little persuasion, he allowed Baba to touch his feet. At Kup near Ludhiana, Punjab, Baba visited a 90-year-old Masoob like Must named Tutapuri. Baba had first met him in April 1942. At the time, at that time, he was a very jalari type and roamed about naked, accompanied by dogs. At the initial contact, Baba gave him some bananas and cigarettes. In the summer of 1946, during Baba's visit to Coop, Uttarpuri was in a very fiery mood, and he could not be contacted to Baba's satisfaction. There is mention of this in Wayfarers, right?
Yes, yes, you're right.
This time, however, he appeared very quiet and docile. He still was not wearing any clothes and always sat on the bare ground with no shelter over him. Baba looked pleased to meet the sixth plain must, and several times he placed his forehead on Tutapuri's feet. While paying such homage, Baba casually heard one of his men making reference to Baba's divinity. Baba did not like this, so he chided the person and gestured. One has to reduce oneself to dust and then, in utter humility, take darshan. That's the way. And he pressed his head again on Totapuri's feet. With the passage of time, Baba's remark has gathered profound significance for his lovers, directing them to the method in which they should take Baba's darshan at Mehrabad or anywhere, anytime.
Wow, important. So I just was reminded I have visited Totapuri's Samadhi. I was just looking it up in Puri. Those were the days of my spiritual shopping before I came to Baba. And I've been to Totapuri's Samadhi in Jagannath. I mean in Puri in Orissa. Yeah. So I went there for Yogananda. The spiritual shopping was around Yogananda. So I visited all the places associated with him on a tour. And this is maybe 2013 or 14. Yeah. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. In the afternoon, Baba reached Ludhiana. In 1946, in this city, he had contacted a few musts and swamis. During this visit, he met only Gandhi Swami, who most of the day used to sit alone in his room and saw visitors only at Aarti. Because he was orthodox in his habits, those who were allowed to see him had to remove sandals, belts, wallets, etc., so that no leather articles were brought into Gandhi Swami's presence. Baba, to accomplish his work, did not mind abiding by this rule. The Swami was said to be 108 years old and yet give regular discourses on the Bhagavad Gita. He did not allow anyone to touch his feet, so Baba bowed down to him from a distance and returned. After a long and tiresome journey in the scorching heat throughout the day, Baba and his men rested for the night in the dark bungalow at Ludhiana and resumed traveling the next morning. This would be a good point where somebody else who wants to read can take over.
Absolutely. Jai Baba. Anybody who wants to take over at this time?
I can read this one.
Sure. Please start,
Thank you,
Ashish ji.
Karthik.
Thank you, Jai Baba. Thank you, Ashok.
Jai Baba. Mastani Ma, Chinta
Jai
Bhagat,
Baba, after
and
this I'll read. I mean, not
Okay.
now, after he finishes. Jai Baba.
Okay. Sure. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Mastani Ma, Chinta Bhagat, and Nuria Baba. June 9th was a busy day for Baba and his men. They were constantly on the move from one place to another in search of God intoxicated people from early morning till late at night. First, they drove straight to Philor to contact reputed Mastani. On arriving, they found her resting, covered with a bedsheet. The Mandali gently called out, Ma, Ma, in bracket mother, but she did not stir. As Baba never contacted any Mast or Mastani against his or her wish, Baba decided to pay another visit to her later the same day. Now, under Baidul's direction, the two cars proceeded through long stretches of fields towards a village named Muhwal. On the way, Baba's car, in the attempt to cross a pool of water, got stuck in the muddy soil. Local villagers, without knowing how blessed they were to have an opportunity to help the avatar, assisted Baba's men in pulling the car out. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning when the cars reached the village of Mohwala, which is about 2 miles from Pratapparab railway station. Here Baba contacted a Mast who had besmeared his whole body with dust and was comfortably lying naked in one of the lanes of the village. He was asked if he would like something to eat, to which he replied, apply ghee, in bracket clarified butter, to the chapatis and offer them to dogs and to some good people. It was noticed by the local people that whatever condition the Must found himself in, he appeared happy and contented contented. Must being drawn in the ocean of God's grace was practically nothing and are not bothered by anything, whether it be the sweltering heat of summer or the biting cold of winter. Baba paid his respect to him and gestured a good must. Incidents like this have been captured by Dr. Deshmukh in his film. On his return to Philor, Baba met Mastani Ma. She was found sweeping the floor of a nearby hotel and singing to herself softly in a low voice, Baja baj raha hai, meaning sweet music is being played. Baba was so pleased with this contact that he met her again the same night and offered her a rupee coin. She played with it as a child plays with fascinating pebble. Then she asked for cigarettes. One of Baba's men gave her 2 packets. She gave 2 cigarettes to each, including Baba, placing them in their pockets. In addition, she very playfully tied a knot in Baba's sadra. Baba looked happy and remarked that she was of high spiritual status. The narration of his contact reminds me of another exceptional Mastani with the same name, Mastani Ma of Lahore. She was supposed to have been sitting at one place opposite the railway station for over 20 years. Baba contacted her in 1941 when he was on his way from Jaipur to Quetta. This Mastani like woman observing Parda used to keep her face covered with a shawl. One evening, Baba took Norina to see her, and Miss Baba, lifted the shawl away from her face. She had a very dark countenance with strange light bluish eyes, and she looked up accordingly at Baba, put her hands together and said,
Adoringly at Baba.
Oh, adoringly at Baba, put her hands together and said, Allah. It
Wow.
was still late morning.
One second, 1 second. Let's see the
Yeah,
reference. Maybe Wayfarers. Yeah, Wayfarers
yeah, William
286. Because
Dawson's The Wayfarers. Yes.
Mastani Ma, I remember that. So there are two Mastani Ma's. One in Quetta, which is what is that? Railway station, right?
Yeah.
Lahore railway station.
Lahore.
And the
Lahore railway station.
other one is Philor. Philor is on the Punjab side where Baba is right now. Okay.
Okay. So it was still late morning, and after another detour, Baba reached a village named Chikola Tala to see a must called Munnilal. He had to be gently persuaded to allow Baba to touch his feet. By midday, the cars arrived at Bura Rurka, another big village. Here there lived a very high type of must who, in spite of being very old, was exceptionally lively in spirit. He remained absolutely naked throughout the year. His name was Chinta Bhagat. Chinta Bhagat, in his childlike innocence, was oblivious of his bodily needs. He had to be humored to make him drink a cup of milk or to eat some sweets. Some of his devotees would sing songs as they placed morsels of food in his mouth. He had a very dignified look, and his eyes indicated the depth of intoxication of his unadulterated love for God. In such must the splendor of the beloved they contemplate with love is reflected on their faces and is expressed through their gait and gestures, and a far off gaze, lost as they are in their journey to the infinite one, is also clearly visible. When Baba reached Chinta Bhagat's place, Chinta was found to be lying on the bare floor of a room. Baba very lovingly pressed Chinta's feet and also at times placed his forehead at the feet of the must. Even after his return to Dehradun, Baba would occasionally remember Chinta Bhagat for his innocent and unpretentious behavior and because of the blissful air about him. In the afternoon at Sangatpura, another gem of must named Nuria Baba was contacted. During Baba's previous visit, he was found sitting in front of a small room near a dhuni pit in which some wood was smoldering. The must had a blanket over his head and a chilam, a small clay pipe, in his hands. Perhaps the chilam and dhuni reflected the fire of love inside the heart of the must. People had been seeing him sitting there in the same fashion for more than 20 years, unmindful of those visiting him and oblivious to the changes of the seasons. At that time, he kept by his side even 7 sacks of baked earth piled one on top of the others, with all sorts of rubbish on them. On the occasion of this visit, it was learned that Must had more or less regained his normal consciousness and had begun to stay inside his room behind closed doors. Instead of 7 sacks, he had dug 7 shallow pits leading to his room. When Baba reached Sangatpura, the Must had retired into his room and was not in a mood to see visitors. When requested to come out, he replied, "Not until evening." But after repeated entreaties by his devotees and Baba's men, Nuria Baba finally opened the door and stood in the doorway in silence. Baba very affectionately went to him and touched his feet, a sign of Baba's inner and outer contact. Then the Must asked Baba to cross one of the 7 pits, which he lovingly did to please the Must. After the doors were closed again, Baba wished to meet him for a second time. But when the message was conveyed to the Must, he promptly replied from inside the room, "The work is done, you are free to go." And so the two cars moved on. Baba continued his journey in the direction of Kapurthala, but in the route he visited Hadiabad to see a well-known centenarian, a saintly person named Kali Prabhat. After Baba's very short visit with the advance pilgrim, Kali Prabhat distributed almonds to all, a nice and nutritious ending to celebrate the occasion of the avatar's incognito meeting with him. Sweet
Okay, I
memories.
but one second, I'll just show the types of musts. So So we saw the lady wearing iron rings that is on the first column, second one, Itefaki. So she, I mean, wears iron rings and other pieces of iron. Again, smoking and betel nuts are common. So these are the different types of musk. So the cigarettes were another example, right? So many of them have association or fondness for cigarettes, betel nuts, and so on. So cross reference. Okay, let's continue.
What about the Musks who came before that when there were no cigarettes? What would they do?
Chillam. So if you
Chillam.
remember, last page there was a chillam, no? So there was a
Mm.
lady that was into chillam. So
There are many
yeah,
Musks
here it
like that
is.
in Kashmir.
Ah, correct.
Yeah.
So this chillum is nothing but tobacco in a pipe.
So basically, they are after tobacco.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
basically after a
and
high.
also BDs.
Ha, PD,
Yeah.
correct.
It is
Yes, yeah,
it is without filter. It's very dangerous actually. Right? It's without
correct.
any.
Yeah, even chillum, all of those are without filter. Yeah,
Mm.
cool.
Sweet sweet memories of discomforts. Baba reached Kapurthala, Punjab by 6 p.m. In the city, he first contacted an old Mastani who had a very dignified face and a self-composed expression. In contrast to the earlier Mastanis, she was decently dressed, which was exceptional. She used to spend most of her time roaming about in the vicinity of the courthouse. Some revered her to the extent that they believed she directed the justice dispensed through that court. Because of this, she was fondly called Budia Judge by the local people.
Yeah,
Baba,
maybe Judge Budia or Budia Judge, whatever.
I like this name.
Budia Judge. Baba reverentially paid his respect to her. One of the people watching Baba's group taking darshan of the Mastani voluntarily offered to guide them to another Mastani if they so wished. Of course, this suggestion was accepted. After going through lanes and violence of the outskirts of the city, they found Mastani sitting all alone in a field. Although her name was Bodharani, Queen, she was scantily dressed in the most ordinary clothes. When Baidul tried to approach her, she flung a piece of brick at him. Okay. However, Baidul, being used to the ways of the god intoxicated ones, went ahead. In soft words, he explained that his elder brother and friends had nothing to ask of her, but that they simply wished to pay their respects. Dr. Deshmukh, seeing the fiery mood of Bodharani, kept a considerable distance from her as he did not wish to risk possible damage to his movie camera. Baba, however, quietly went to her and touched her feet. Another in his contact, she asked for cold water and food. One of the Mandali managed to get a glass of cool water from a nearby well. As for food, Baba gave her a rupee and the Mastani instructed a nearby villager to buy something for her to eat. During Baba's visit to the god intoxicated, owing to his deep love for them, he would fulfill and wishes they expressed. On his return to the city, Baba contacted a musk named Ramesh. He was sitting on the parapet of a temple. After quickly paying his respects, Baba gave Ramesh a rupee and left. No comments were made. The next contact was of Kashiram, a much respected figure in the main bazaar of Kapurthala. He seemed like a simple, innocent man with an air of genuine naturalness about him. Kashiram became all the more humble in Baba's presence, perhaps a sign of indirect recognition and innocence shone through his God intoxicated eyes. Kashiram very lovingly wanted to return Baba's homage by touching his feet, but was not permitted to do so. Instead, he just folded his palms in a namaskar while his eyes seemed to touch Baba's sacred feet. It was about 8 at 9, and Baba conveyed that his work in the city was completed. In all 6 months, and the three Mastani of high order had been contacted that day. Now, Baba decided to return to Dehradun, and he wished to finish as much of the journey as possible during that one night.
So just a comment, if you remember when we read Wayfarers, the ratio of Mastanis to Mas was almost one or two every 100. But if you notice on this 5-day trip, of the 6 three Mastanis were met. So it's almost 50-50. So I don't know what to make of it, but that's an observation that I wanted to share. So very few female Mastanis were encountered in the Wayfarers. So that's what I wanted to say. Yeah, go ahead.
In addition, he instructed those with him not to sleep, not even to doze in the cars, but to keep wide awake. This was a real ordeal for Baba's men, especially after their continuous traveling of 4 days. But in their love for the master, no one thought of disagreeing with Baba in any way. Baba and his party left for Julandhar. Julandhar, yes. They stopped
Jalandhar.
en route at
Jalandhar, again
Jalandhar.
Punjab. Yeah.
Jalandhar. They stopped en route at Pagwara for dinner and reached Philor at about 10:30 p.m. As mentioned earlier, Baba made a special visit to Mastani Ma for a second contact. From here, the journey to Hardwar was to be made
Haridwar,
without a
Haridwar.
break.
You're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
it's a
It's
Haridwar. Yeah,
Haridwar.
it's a Haridwar.
That's
Journey to
before
Haridwar,
Dehradun. Yeah.
yeah, was to made without a break. But on the way, Elcha Mistri's car had a flat. In the dead of night, after strenuous effort, a number of punctures were patched. The spare tires that they had with them had already been used. By the time the car was ready, the desire for sleep had totally left Baba's mare. In the early morning of June 10th, they arrived at Kanakhal, a suburb of Haridwar. There was a must staying there here in a lovely garden. He had remarkable radiant skin which shone like heated copper. During Baba's last visit, he had offered enough money to the devotees to have dentures made for his God intoxicated soul. At this present visit, the must, like a child, innocently showed his artificial teeth to all, which amused Baba. The cars then sped off via Haridwar to Rishikesh to Bhajan Ashram. Here, Nilkantawala, the naked must, was staying. On June 6th, when Baba had met him, the must did not speak but wrote on a slate, Kanakal, Haridwar, Rishikesh, Ram Ram. Baba responded to this writing by concluding his short tour with his visit to Kankhal, Haridwar, and Rishikesh, and by bidding Ram Ram goodbye to Nilkantawala. On June 10th, the party returned to Dehradun, utterly exhausted. Baba, in spite of his delicate health, looked cheerful and expressed his happiness about meeting his beloved children, the Mast and Mastanis, whom he had contacted during the entire tour. To give readers an idea of the unbearable weather and the multitude of discomfort of the journey which Baba and those which him had to face, I give below some excerpts from the diary of one who made the trip. This Mastur, as is always the case on such occasions, was a very trying ordeal for everyone, especially the two, J. Helen and Elcha Mistri, who drove the two cars, had to suffer great strain without any rest. They were all the time of the wheel bearing when there was a break in the journey, either for food or must contacts. Both the cars gave a lot of trouble by frequent punctures and bursts. Spare tires and tubes had to be fitted under the scorching heat of the sun. In most of the places, the temperature was above 117 degrees Fahrenheit. Water was sometimes scarce, and the hot wind and the dust storms added to the heat of the day. The heat and hot breeze instantaneously evaporated the sweat as soon as it oozed out of the spores of the body. All the members of the party had to put up with discomforts and inconveniences of all types, and Baba shared this with the group. These experiences of difficulties and trials, though very trying, becoming sweet in memory when one recollects them. There is invariably a lingering feeling that the must contacts were surely worth all these troubles and much more. After returning to Dehradun, Baba remarked in the presence of most of his devotees of Dehradun that although he was completely satisfied with the work done in his tour, no number of such must trips nor any account of satisfaction derived thus could ever compensate for what has been undone by a thing so trifling as a failure to procure a station wagon van and the consequent repercussion on the picture of work he had formulated and pre-planned in all its details.
So the reference to the station wagon here is the specific van that Baba had requested that had to be hired for self-drive, and which, after a lot of trials and tribulations, actually didn't happen. So the guy didn't bring the vehicle back, and so that's the reference. So Baba was very disappointed, but the journey continued by cars. This must be one of the Westerners who wrote this because it looks like, yeah, it must be Helen probably who wrote this. Okay, if you want, we can rotate now because we have another half an hour to go. If you're okay to read now, Mamita ji.
Yeah, she wants to read. Just a moment.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, uh, Ashish ji, for
Yeah,
reading.
Baba.
Hey, Baba.
Yeah, Baba.
Just wanted to ask, Baba was in Missouri and then he went to Punjab and that area. Am I
Yes,
right?
correct.
And is he going back to Missouri or
He went back to Haridwar. He's now, right now, the last reference was Bhajan Ashram in Haridwar, Nilkant Mast.
so probably
So
back
he's
to
come back to the
Missouri?
region. What is that?
Yeah, looks like.
Or maybe he'll go to the, I mean, it all started from the Rajpur Road, Dehradun residence, which is
Correct,
not
yeah.
far from Haridwar. So
Yeah,
maybe
which
they
is
are
not,
going back there.
I guess so. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah.
Yeah, Baba. The Avatar's co- incomprehensible game. One may wonder how an insignificant material object like a van could assume such importance in Baba's work, but there is no doubt it did. While in Mussoorie, Baba frequently stressed the need for his people in Dehradun to definitely have a good van hired for his work by the first week of June. He even suggested that they buy a van and sell it after the 2 week tour if they could not rent one. Baba's work seemed to depend on his being able to travel with his men in one vehicle for 15 days without rest or sleep, and in contacting 56 advanced souls, Mas, Majubs, and saints. When a van could not be procured, not only was Baba extremely displeased, but he remarked later that this had forced him to revise and rearrange many things pertaining to his future spiritual work. That the avatar's spiritual work can hinge upon whether or not a van is rented was and will be incomprehensible to many. Baba himself once remarked that even to some who have accepted him as their master, such a state of affairs might seem ridiculous. The gist of Baba's explanation, not quoted verbatim, is given below. A perfect master, owing to his conscious union with God, the infinite, is beyond time and space, and as such there is nothing for him to accomplish for himself. However, according to the divine will, he takes an active interest in creation and experiences himself as the center of everyone and everything. So he consciously and continuously works in order to help all who are in bondage in their Godward march. Wow.
Jay Baba, Karthik, you can underline that paragraph.
Yes, sir.
But but his ways of work and of help are not always comprehensible. To the human intellect mind, sometimes his utterance and actions appear very confusing, but to a simple and innocent heart, embedded in complete faith in one's master, such words and deeds will shine out as the Leela of his master. It is impossible to convince the limited mind through rational explanations about the working of the universal mind, which are beyond the grasp and reach of human intellect and even of human imagination. So, however much I explain about the setbacks caused by the failures of obtaining a van, one will never comprehend the import of what I really mean. Yet, one thing is certain, that all these setbacks do not and will never affect me, although they affect my work.
Wow.
Baba then mentions some apparently ordinary incidents from the lives of the past avatars to illustrate how these events have changed the course of spiritual history. Rama, for instance, at Sita's request, went out to hunt a golden deer. While he was away, Sita quite casually crossed a line drawn before the hut, which enabled Ravana to take her to Lanka. The search for Sita and her consequent release from Ravana's place is the main subject for the great epic of Ramayana. Krishna, as an arbitrator, visited the royal court of Duryodhana, the king of Kauravas, to bring about an amicable settlement between the two mighty warring parties. In spite of his most skillful pleading, he did not achieve the desired results, and he returned home seemingly disappointed. This setback brought in its wake one of the greatest wars in the history of the world, which forms the setting for Mahabharata, wherein Krishna has given his universal message to the world through the Bhagavad Gita. Baba also referred to events in the lives of Zoroaster, Buddha, Christ, and Muhammad, and added that if they were truth personified, all knowledge and all powerful, then why could they not foresee the dangers and avoid the setbacks to their work? Baba concluded. If anyone's mind happily and voluntarily accepts the explanations given by me, it is well and good. If it does not, then let it continue to doubt it till it gets tired of all the endless doubts and arguments about things which are beyond the conception and comprehension of any human mind. I think he's addressing to our mind as well because we keep on
Exactly,
questioning.
exactly, exactly.
So he
So
says,
this
do
we
it
have to
now or
we have to
keep,
frame it. We have to frame this, right?
yeah,
Because every time we get doubts, just read this.
yeah,
And we
honestly,
get doubts all the time, right? We get, oh, why did Baba do this? Oh, why
yeah,
did not,
yeah,
why? So all we have to do is
yeah,
just remember this.
true. Yeah, we must. And it kind of melts away all those, uh, we have these disbeliefs. And
Correct.
sometimes you also question, I'm going so deep after this man. Am I going in the correct direction? In later
So I
pe
was actually, I mean, sorry for the distraction, but I had
No, no.
exactly the same questions. I mean, related questions somebody asked. So we were having a deep discussion on philosophy. Then he said, "So
Mm,
you're going with a master." Of course,
mm,
I don't refer to my Baba as a master with him, right? So
mm,
he said, "So you're going so deep with a master. So there is a lot of cost and benefit to that choice." And I said,
mm,
"Yes." Then I said, I've used this metaphor before. But I'll repeat it. I said I believe in digging a well, but sticking to the same spot. Even in discourses, this is mentioned, right? So you can, when you're seeking water, you can go to, I mean, you can pick a spot and dig, and then you can give up if you don't make progress. Pick another spot, dig again. Pick another spot, dig again. Another person can put some reasonable effort, pick a spot, and then keep digging in the same place. I said, I am firmly in that space. I have found the spot, I have done my due diligence, and that's it. I'm just going to keep digging, right? So, that along with this framed, I think we should put in
Yeah.
our houses.
To me, it's like there's no due diligence. It's there your sixth sense says you are in the correct place.
Yeah,
There's no explanation. It's just that your soul says you are in the correct direction.
correct.
Yeah. In
You
a later
intuitively
period,
know.
yeah. In a
I
later
think for
period
that
during,
also, sorry, I think for
Yeah,
that
yeah.
also you
Please
need
go
a
ahead,
grace from
Ashish.
Baba. I think for that
Oh,
also
yeah.
you need the grace from Baba. Absolutely.
No
Without that,
doubt. No doubt. Yeah, yeah,
reading the
absolutely.
books opens a very different dimension of your own being. Initially, you start with bhajans, you just like those verses you repeat, and you feel nice, very intoxicated in that space. But that is surface deep. It's like smoking BD. You get little bit high. But when you read Baba's words again and again, and from different perspectives of people who have been close to him, you you get firmer. It's like cementing bricks one by one, and it gets stronger, and you're very settled in that knowledge. Then there's no doubt. It adds up to your belief and your good realization of our good fortune that we are under his fold. So yeah, that's my
So,
take.
what are you smoking now?
Hash browns.
Okay.
Jai Baba. Huh?
Yeah.
Jai
Yeah,
Baba.
Ashokji. Yeah.
There are also a lot of subtle messages in the various stories. There's a story which you are reading like a storybook, but there are lots
Oh,
of
yeah, yeah.
messages in the stories and incidents which we have read in this book. So it's
Correct.
very
And answers to many of our personal questions, doubts, anxieties that we have gone through in our lives, which are parallel to what Bal Natu or his protagonists of his stories are encountering. This has been amazing.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also this
Yeah.
cross reference to Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita. There's a lot of
Correct.
things to learn from the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
Okay, Baba. In a later period, during one of his meetings with his lovers, Baba conveyed, in illusion, how I play my game, no one knows. Don't try to understand me. My depth is unfathomable. Love me. And this, I feel, is the most appropriate explanation given by Baba for any of his lovers trying to understand his incomprehensible game. Yeah, yeah,
One more t-shirt line.
next year, Silence Day T-shirt code.
Okay, done. I keep seeing such good lines and I keep thinking I should make
But
a note somewhere.
everything that you have highlighted, you must put it in a separate document, and then we can make things out of it.
Okay, we'll get AI to do that.
Yeah, you okay.
Okay, we finished that chapter. We're going to the next one.
July
So,
meeting and the Master's Prayer, 1953, Part 6, The Two Circulars. All the Mandali residing at Dehradun gathered in Baba's presence on June 19th at 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 days after the must tour. Baba looked radiant, but serious as well. He gracefully rose from his chair, so the Mandali also stood in silence. Baba first bowed down to Gustaji and then stood in a very reverential mood, with his hands folded in namaskar. On behalf of Baba, the following prayer was read aloud. My salutations to all the past, present, and future perfect ones, kutubs, majubs, mas, lovers and seekers of God. Today, I remember with my love, in accordance to their love and faith, my physically departed lovers. Then, while all remained standing, Elisha Mystery read a list of 137 departed ones who were close to Baba's love. At the end, Baba, for the second time, placed his head on Gustadji's feet and with quick and light steps walked to his seat. To conclude this program, mango jam was distributed to those present. I can taste the mango jam. Very tasty. Perhaps this prasad of jam was to commemorate the sweet memories of those who lived for him. I've never eaten mango jam actually. In the later part of June, although Baba did not leave Dehradun, the Mandli did not have to move from 107 A Rajpur Road to 101 Rajpur Road. This was because Kishan Singh, in order to dedicate the rest of his life to Baba, retired from his government job. He thus had to leave the house of the government had had he had to leave the house the government had put at his disposal. So he and the Mandali moved to a house nearby. At around this time, Baba issued a circular which asked his people to observe a fast on July 10th, 1953, from 7 in the morning until 7 in the evening. During the period of the fast, no food or liquid except water was to be permitted. Between 5 and 7 a.m. on the 10th. However, all were allowed to consume anything they liked so they could keep focused on Baba during the day. According to an earlier circular, Baba's disciples and devotees had already been asked to repeat the name of the god specific to their religion for 1 hour in the early morning of July 10th, 1953. When giving orders to his people, Baba was specific and strict, yet also considerate. A visitor drenched in rain denied darshan. Most mornings, while in Dehradun, Baba, accompanied by Dr. Gohar, walked from his residence to Mandali's quarters by an unfrequented path that ran between the large bungalows in that area. During his regular sittings with those who stayed near him, he often warned all, especially Kishan Singh, not to ask him to see any visitors. Every day by 11 a.m., Baba would return for lunch after accompanied by Aloba, who would hold an umbrella over his head. Baba's darshan in March for the local people was still the talk of the city. Those who had missed the opportunity of meeting Baba earlier began requesting Kishan Singh through letters and phone calls to arrange brief meetings for them with his beloved master. When the entreats, entreat, how to say this?
Entreaties, when the
Uh,
requests.
when the entreaties were genuine and from deserving people, it was very difficult for him to explain that he was not allowed to even ask Baba to see anyone. Obeying Baba's orders was a real task for Kishan Singh, but he seemed to be up to it. Unconsciously, however, he began to take pride in his obedience. Baba, being the compassionate master, soon helped extricate him from the snares of self esteem through an interview given to an unexpected visitor. It was July 5th. As usual, Baba arrived in the morning at the Mandali quarters. It began to rain heavily, and a little later, a man, soaked to the skin, entered the gate and stopped in front of the house with an inquiring look on his face. Kishan Singh came out and learned that the person was Dr. Hukmat Rai Kapil and that he was working at the headquarters in New Delhi. He had read Baba's books and was ardently seeking Baba's darshan, but as he was not on Adi K. Rani's mailing list, he did not know of Baba's partial seclusion. Kishan Singh was very much touched by couple's sincerity and devotion. However, only a day earlier, Baba had severely warned him that if he even put in a word for any one of his to have his darshan, he would immediately leave Dehradun. So Kishan Singh was helpless, and with a heavy heart, he told Kapil that it would not be possible for him to see Baba for several months. It was a shock for Kapil to hear this news. The compassionate master was so close, and yet he was being denied his darshan. How unbelievable! However, in obedience to the master's wish, he retraced his steps towards the gate, his tears joining the rain, showering from the heavens a sigh of heavenly sympathy and solace. When Dr. Hukmat Rai Kapil was only 8 years old, he had heard a discourse in a temple about the expected one, the avatar of the Kali Yuga. He was so fascinated with the idea of God assuming a human form that the desire to meet him in person became deeply ingrained in him. While still a young man, he obtained a nice job and was married to a good girl, yet his longings to meet Avatar did not diminish. Soon this quest took a serious turn, and he began with great interest to read books on spirituality, different paths leading to God. He was especially interested in yoga because he thought that the awakening of the Kundalini would be very beneficial in his search. Yet he felt that a great part of his heart remained dry and that there was no real music ringing in it. Even after his marriage, he would at times besmear his body with ashes, wear a lion cloth, and spend long hours in seclusion or performing havan. You want to read the footnote, Karthik?
Yeah.
A ritual in which an oblation in the form of offerings of ghee or some particular food, such as grains placed in the fire, is made. This naturally annoyed his wife, who once remarked, "If you are so determined to be an ascetic, it would have been better if you had resided in the mountains observing austerities rather than getting married to me." It was about this time in the early 1950s that Kapil learned of and became interested in studying the discourses, the life of Meher Baba. Although greatly drawn to Baba's words of wisdom, he found his settlement about being the avatar much harder to accept. Still, in spite of certain doubts and confusion, Kapil continued to ponder over Baba's discourses and messages. At the beginning of one's contact with Baba, it is not unusual that one's thoughts and feelings are deeply stirred, and Kapil was no exception to this avataric technique. After a while, he was blessed with a deep feeling that Meher Baba was the real Satguru and that he should therefore try to see him. But how and where? In 1953, in the earliest attempt to find God, he decided to send his wife and children to her parents in Mussoorie. While he visited the saints and yogis residing in the Himalayan region, the search for God became his adventure. Just when everything was settled and he was ready to leave Delhi, he happened to receive a letter from Adi, from which he gathered that Meher Baba was staying at Rajpur Road in Dehradun, a town on his way to Mussoorie. This coincidence made Kapil exceedingly happy and he decided to give Baba's darshan. Kapil had not received the earlier circular about not distributing Baba, not disturbing Baba by calling on him. On his arrival at Dehradun, Kapil sent his family on to Mussoorie. He removed his western clothes and put on a lion cloth over which he wrapped a dhoti. He also wore rubble chapel sandals instead of shoes. Perhaps he regarded this change of dress as a prerequisite for the spiritual life. Though it had been Though it had begun raining that morning, he could not wait until the sky was clear for Baba's darshan. However, on reaching 101 Rajput Road, he was asked to leave immediately without having a glimpse of his beloved master. What a shattering disappointment! Couple's audience with Baba. When Kapil left, Kishan Singh went inside and reported to Baba that he had sent a visitor away who had come for his darshan. This he did with a feeling of pride as having so strictly adhered to Baba's instructions. Hearing this, Baba, instead of giving him a pat on the back, looked displeased and conveyed, "What right have you to send away someone who has specially come to my door for darshan? Go, run, bring him to me at once." Although this was totally unexpected, Kishan Singh nevertheless rushed out of the room and through the gate, shouting loudly, "Kapil, Kapil!" In the meantime, Kapil had walked half a furlong away, but hearing that Baba wanted to see him, his joy knew no bounds. Meher Baba is indeed the all-knowing and compassionate master. He he uh, he thought with surprised delight. Kapil was led into Baba's presence. Finding him standing in wet clothes, Baba expressed his concern that his visitor might catch a chill and asked Kishan Singh to find him some dry clothes. After Kapil put on the new garments, Baba beckoned him to sit down before him, which he reverentially did. Baba lovingly inquired, "Have you taken your morning tea?" Kapil replied, "I had taken a vow not to eat or drink anything until I have your darshan." Baba smiled softly and instructed one of the mandali to bring tea for him, and the audience began. "Baba, what do you want to know?" Kapil, "I want to learn yoga, Baba. Then, as I am not a yogi, you had better go to someone else. But tell me, why do you want to learn yoga?" Kapil, "For God realization." Baba looked pleased and asked if Kapil was willing to give up both this yoga. Footnote: Baba did not object to yoga asanas if these practices were intended entirely for physical health. Baba looked pleased and asked if Kapil was willing to give up both his yoga and his aesthetic practices and let Baba guide him to his goal of God realization. Baba continued, "But of course, if you decide to follow me, you will have to obey me implicitly." Kapil lowered his head as a gesture of voluntary acceptance and said, "Most willingly, Baba, Baba, most willingly, Baba." Baba added, "Then tell me, will you roam about naked, eat meat, and drink liquor if I order you to do? You too?" Kapil answered, "I will do whatever you ask." Baba gestured, "Will you kill your dear son if so ordered by me?" Kapil's eyes flickered with surprise. There were moments of intense silence, but eventually he responded, "Yes, Baba." Hearing his reply, Baba explained, "Remember well, it is not roaming, eating, drinking, or killing that I am interested in. I only want to know whether you were ready to obey me. So totally forget about those things. Now, I know you are married. Tell me, tell me, do you love your wife? Be honest, Kapil." "Not really. I fear she might be an impediment on my journey to God." Baba, "Does your wife love you?" Kapil, "I'm sure she does." Baba, "It is wonderful that your wife loves you, but you don't love her because of your selfishness. Now that you have agreed to give up aesthetic practices and follow me, carefully listen to the instructions I have given you." At this time, one of the mandali brought a tea, tea for Kapil, and Baba also gave him a mango to eat, which to him had heavenly sweetness. Baba in a delighted mood, also gestured for him to finish his tea. During this short period, Kapil felt that the sacred sound Om was reverberating,
Reverberating. Reverberating.
reverberating in his whole being. At the end of this divine breakfast, Baba asked Kapil if he had read the discourses, the Perfect Master, Avatar, and other works by him, and about him. Kapil replied that he had carefully read all these books. Hearing this, Baba began, Here are some orders for you to follow. Listen carefully. Wear clothes that are normal for a person leading a family life. Don't put on sadhu's clothes. People sometimes associate spirituality with the clothes that others wear and pay their homage to such people. This is harmful. Don't be a hypocrite. You should not come here a second time for any darshan, even if you happen to be passing through this town. When I call you, leave everything to me. Within a short period, I want you to bow down to your two saintly personalities in Rajpur, one naked mask in Bhajan ashram, and also a reputed Swami at Rishikesh, Baba named all four. I want you to pay your all all told, to 101 sadhus, sannyasis, and the like, residing at Haridwar. Don't stay with anyone, bow down, and leave immediately. Do not tell any of them that I have ordered you to do so. Write me a letter when you finish, bowing down or touching the feet of 101 sadhus, Mahatmas, etc. Baba gestured to Kapil to sit by his side. Then he lovingly asked, what will you do now? Kapil replied, I will go to Mussoorie and stay with my wife at my father in law's place for 2 to 3 days, then leave on my tour or bound down to people as directed. Baba looked delighted and conveyed, Good, go and have a nice time with your wife and other family members. Love your wife, make her happy. And with a smile, he added, I won't mind even if you forget God for these 2 or 3 days. It was time for Kapil to leave, and he stood before Baba. Baba gave him prasad of some raisins, manuka. While receiving this, Kapil felt the touch of Baba's long, sensitive fingers, and a sudden sense of incredible ecstasy enveloped him. His touch was to Kapil a special gift for the master. With a heart full of gratitude and eyelids wet with love, Kapil left the room where Baba was seated. Having lived in a city he had not used to taking long walks, but in a state of intoxication, suffused with Baba's love, he decided to walk the 15 miles to Masiri, 8 miles of which is very steep and hilly track. He covered this distance without feeling the least bit tired. Most of the time it was raining, and when he reached his father in law's residence, his relatives were amazed to find him in such an unusual condition, totally drenched outside and inside. Totally drenched outside and inside. He immediately changed his clothes and put on his regular woolen clothes, and later told his family about his meeting with Meher Baba, his beloved master. All felt happy. After visiting some picnic spots and spending a nice time with his wife and other family members, he left Mussoorie to bow down or touch the feet of 101 people, saints, sadhus, sannyasis, instructed by Baba. After completing this work, Kapil sent a detailed report of his tour with the names of as many people as he knew to Baba. When the list was read aloud to Baba, remarked, I want such men for my work. And the following reply was sent to Kapil, I am happy with your love. Remember me more and more, Baba.
This gentleman, Hukumat Rai ji, was a very prominent part of the Delhi group while I was growing up. He used to come to our place, and I believe we used to go to his place. They used to have nominated days for Baba's Kirtan in some of the prominent Baba followers' houses.
Wow, interesting. So he was a defense guy. It said Air Headquarters, Delhi,
I'm
wasn't he?
just thinking, the Delhi center is very close to the, it's called institutional area, and there's a Vayu Sena something there.
Oh, okay.
It's called Vayu Sena Bad. Is there a connection? I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. Because it said he was working at Air Headquarters, Delhi. Hukumat
Hmm.
Rai Kapil. So must be a defense dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we will stop on this logical note, given that the
You should
next
also highlight this. I'm happy with your love. Remember me more and more. It can be applicable to us as well.
all well, yeah, maybe.
He is happy we are reading, and
Absolutely.
he said he's happy we are reading his work, and some sense is getting into our head, and then he's instructing us to remember him more and more.
Jai
Baba,
Baba, Jai Baba,
Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba. Amazing. Okay, so with that,
But
I will.
I just want to add, Karthik, that Baba's Naam Smaran, remember him every time, with every breath in, breath out, Baba. I mean, you have to remember him, internalize his name. It's difficult, easier said than done, but that's the message I get from today's reading.
Yes, Jai Baba.
Yeah, Baba.
It is not difficult to remember him. Why everybody says it's why is it difficult? It's very easy. It's as easy as breathing.
True, I mean, but we get caught up in our worldly responsibilities and I mean, and maybe some distractions. We
The
have
sim
our
in worldly things we do, the difficulties we face, or the joys of life, like eating, you just say thank you, Baba.
yeah, yeah.
Nice. And when you get a task done, thank you, Baba. When you are not able to accomplish anything, then say, Baba, show me the way. It's very easy. He becomes you. And then it's not like there's someone out there you have to remember. It's not
No, no,
homework. It
no,
is
it's
internal
not.
work.
Agreed, agreed. It's not homework. It's basically within you only. And one thing good you said is that before every meal, we can say, you know, thank you for the blessings. And once you had your meal, thank you for the meals which you
Yeah.
received.
You
Because
see a beautiful color, you say, wow, Baba. And then also he had instructions for you guys how you must behave with your wives. You see what he told you? Please underline it. Karthik,
Yes, noted, madam.
ठीक है? ये देखो बाबा सीधे बोलते हैं कि ये you if she loves you, you must love also. You can't be selfish in your ways.
yes, yes,
And
correct.
Baba in the big picture also tells you how to handle the small picture. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba.
अवतार मेहर बाबा की
Meher
जय.
Baba
संजय जी,
ki
are you
jai.
singing?
अब
संजय जी,
अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय.
संजय जी is
संजय जी
washing clothes.